how you doing? Welcome back to Built Not Bought by Bruce. So this afternoon, I just did some rearranging in the garage, cleaned it up here, moved winter projects into place, and while I had some free space here, I thought I would show you something that might help you out, might come in handy down the road. So years ago, way back in, I'm going to guess about 2003, I was trying to figure out how to hold my bench grinder, how to make a grinder stand that would work for me. And you know, I'd seen truck rings used and all kinds of stuff, and of course a bench grinder, when you mount it on a bench, isn't always as versatile as you'd like it to be. And being that I work in a fairly small space, the more stuff that's on wheels, the better, or, you know, able to roll around. So I was working on it, trying to figure something out, and of course the big thing is, you know, if you use something like a heavy weight, even if it's heavy, they tend to move around when the grinder's running, when you're pushing on it, stuff like that. So with my limited physics knowledge, the one thing that I came up with is, if I stand on a plate with a post on it, I cannot physically push myself over. So I can lean on that as hard as I want, and I can't push myself over. And that led me to my idea, which I've seen other companies now that have these things, and I don't care who got ideas where, it doesn't matter, but I built these myself and came up with this idea, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. So what I used is a 1/4 inch plate on the bottom, and I think this is 2 feet by 3 feet. So with that plate, unfortunately they're showing some wear after, what, 17 years, something like that. Had the plate covered with box liner. So it's got box liner on it, which is nice on the floor because it means it's not bare steel on the floor. It's nice and rugged on the top, but like I say, after the years it's getting some edge damage. We might get these blasted and cleaned up and redone here at some point. But the theory being that if I'm standing here working on the grinder, I'm trying to let you see what I'm doing here. If I'm standing here working on the grinder, no matter how hard I push on this, I cannot push myself over. So it makes them really stable, really convenient. The way I designed them is I built a couple little legs at the back that hold casters. So to move this around, all I have to do is tilt it back. Now it's on 2 wheels. I can move it around wherever I have to go. This is, now it's what I call 2-inch receiver tubing. I don't know, it's the same tubing that you'd use making a hitch receiver, and then a hitch head, of course. So it's nice because the pieces slide, they fit really nice in each other, they slide really well, works really well that way. And then what I thought is, you know, I can make this thing adjustable by drilling holes in both tubes. You only need 1 hole in the female side, and then multiple holes in the male side. On this particular one, and this is a little bit heavy, but I'll try and show you. So I'm using just a locking pin, kind of a race-style locking pin. And this will adjust in height, and I've got holes drilled all along that tube. So I can change the height. If I want to sit and polish, I can set the height down. If I'm a little bit taller guy, I can pull that up a little bit. So that's what I did adjustment-wise there. So after I built 2 of them. Don't know why, but I built 2. I only needed 1 for my grinder. But after I built the second one, I realized that my tubing notcher, for example, it was easy to mount my tubing notcher, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. It's easy to mount the tubing notcher and make that work. And from there, it's just kind of growing. I keep making accessories to go into these things, and they work great. What I have on the floor here is what I did for motorcycle frames. So this allows me to put the neck of the motorcycle frame on here. I use some polyurethane bushings that are nice and stable. Crank it down, tighten it up real good on the neck, on the head. And again, adjustable height and everything. This way, when I paint a frame, and I'll put some pictures in the video here, when I paint a frame, there's absolutely nothing in the way. Now, to refine this a little bit, I shouldn't say that, there is something in the way. To refine this a little bit, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little heavier stock here, because there is more flex here than what I wanted. So I'm going to use a heavier tube here. I'm also going to cut this here, because with it like this, the problem is this part of the neck is hard to get at. Now, it's easy enough if you have a spot on the frame that you can grab, because it turns so easy, you can pull it out and spray that very front part of the neck. But this is not doing me any good. There's no purpose behind this. So I'm just going to lop this off and it'll work fine. So that's one of the accessories I built. Let me just set this down over here. The other thing that I made, I bought a couple of these cool engine stands from Lowbrow, one for an XS650 and one for my Sportster. And I wanted to be able to work on engines on here as well. So again, same deal. I've made this adjustable with a locking pin, so I can set this at different heights. I also found a couple pillow blocks that were laying around not doing anything. And I thought, well, I could make this so that I can turn it, which is also kind of nice because I can change the angle of it. I've got it set so that I have 8 different locking positions and just lock it with a bolt and a nut, and that keeps it from turning. So that's what I did on this, and again, height's adjustable. So if I want to get this sitting over the bench, I can raise it above the bench height, roll it in so that the base is under the bench, and now it's right over top of the bench if that's what I need to do. So just really good versatility, a real simple base system. I'm going to show you something else, like I say, with my tubing notcher that was a total fluke, but I'll show you that in a second. So that's what I made. That's a Built Not Bought by Bruce deal. If you're interested in dimensions, material, any of that kind of stuff, let me know. Make a comment. I'll be happy to share with you. Be happy to give you measurements and everything off of this. So give me a second. I'm going to move over to the bench with the tubing notcher, and I'll show you what I did there. I'm back. So here's what I've got over here. This bench that I picked up, this was originally a display stand for Honda ATVs. And this was actually the bottom part. This is diamond plate. Again, this is a good thick, I think it's 1/4-inch piece of steel. And they had used a box liner, truck box liner finish on it. And it had 2 posts and you mounted an ATV up on it. I don't know if anybody's ever seen one, but anyway, that was years ago they did that. So this was sitting around at a dealer's. I saw it there. Dealer just wanted to get rid of it, so I grabbed it. Brought it home and I thought, if I make a base for the bottom and flip this thing over, this will make a great welding surface, bench surface, mount device on it, etc., etc. So I did that, and what wound up being really cool, it was totally unplanned, it's just one of those things that happens. Once I got it set up, got my frame built for the base and everything, I realized that the posts that held the ATV up, that run down the center of this thing, were the same material that I built my grinder stand out of. So this is the same receiver tube that I used on the stands. What that means is now my tubing notcher, the engine stand, you know, the engine adapter, the engine stand, if you will, all of those accessories that I built for my stands will also fit in 2 different plugs on this bench. And I can turn them 90 degrees if I want. What I've done here is my holes for adjusting the height will still work here. I don't have to get under there and put anything through. I can just put a locking pin, and that's just a trailer hitch locking pin. Just put a pin through and set my height that way. So it works out really well, and I got a pin to lock it on there with, so no problem, not worried about it falling down or anything. So that's how that whole thing came together. And again, if you'd like more information about it, it's something that you can fab up at home, weld up. I think they're great, they're mobile, they've worked well for me. Really like them, I like having them in the shop. So, there you go. If you want any more information, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks.